Good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you in this e-learning program that is organized by Shri Kanmanshri Vidyapeeth. Friends, in our today's session, we are going to see the quick recap to chapter number 1, which is motion. So, let's have a look at the chapter. First of all, let me discuss with you that the lesson that we are doing right now is already over, and in today's session we are going to see some of the very important quick recap things. So, let's have a look at it. We started with this word that is rest and motion. An object can be at rest or in motion, or an object can be in motion or at rest. How can we decide it? We can decide it only with respect to the reference point, that is from where the object is observing everything. So what is reference point? Reference point is something like you can say reference point will it is the point from where the observer is generally observing the particular object. So that is what reference point is. We have about how when three people who are going in the bus, they decide whether the person will be moving or not. So from that we can conclude that motion is a relative concept. Yes, motion is something which is a relative concept. It totally depends on the observer. And let me give you one more example. For example, if I am right now on the earth and I am observing the geostationary satellite, as per me, the satellite is in stationary situation, but actually when viewed from space it will be moving. So anything, whether it is moving or not, it depends on the observer. Okay, if you are observing me right now, or even the board, that is the digital board that you are having at the back, if you are observing the digital board, then as per your knowledge you think it to be stationary, but when viewed from the sky it will be moving along with this building on as per how the earth is rotating. So an object is moving or not will totally depend on the observer. Okay, so that is what we had a discussion. Reference point, this is a very key point which is important over here. Now next, the next part that we had done was this, that is the difference between the scalar and vector quantities. Those quantities that need only magnitude for its complete description. That is called as scalar quantity, while those quantities that need magnitude as well as direction. For its complete description. Then it is said to be vector quantity. Any quantity can be said as scalar or vector depending on whether it is giving its whole description is depending either on magnitude or on magnitude as well as the direction. The next particular thing that we can differentiate the scalar and vector quantity is all the arithmetic operations can be applied over here. while here arithmetic operations are not done. Now, what is the meaning of the word arithmetic? Plus, minus, divide, multiplication, all this is coming under the word that is arithmetic. Don't forget, this is the quick recap, so ma'am is going little bit fast. Arithmetic operations can be done in the scalar quantity, while in vector quantity they are not allowed. And when you will go for a higher standards, that is in class 11th or class 12th, you will come to conclude, you will come to judge whether and how the vectors can be added, vectors can be subtracted, vectors can be multiplied. They are having a specific rule about which you will learn in your higher standards. Coming to some of the examples of scalar quantity, the example of scalar quantity is mass, temperature, while here it is weight. Now, after learning chapter number 3, you can well judge what is the difference between the mass and weight, these two particular terms. The next particular thing that we can start with is this, distance and displacement. Okay, if we talk about distance, it is path length traveled by the object it is a scalar quantity can never be 0 or negative, and its SI unit is meter. These are some of the very important points regarding the distance. It is the path length traveled by the object, this is a scalar quantity, it can never be 0 or negative, its SI unit is meter. Then coming to the next particular part, that is the displacement. Displacement is the shortest distance between 2 points. Between any 2 points, whenever we want to calculate the shortest distance, then it is the displacement that will tell us. Then next particular thing, it is a vector quantity. Displacement can be 0, can be negative. While distance is always positive. The SI unit over here is also meter. Okay. Coming to the next particular part regarding the distance and the displacement. The new concept, which is speed and velocity. What is speed now? Speed is distance upon time. Again, it is a scalar quantity with its unit meter per second. Coming to the velocity, it is a ratio of displacement and time it is a vector quantity again the unit is meter per second, that is the unit of both. Okay, the types of speed are uniform speed, non-uniform speed, average speed, Next is instantaneous speed. Over here it is uniform velocity, non-uniform velocity, average speed, average velocity. So these are uniform speed means what? Object is covering equal distance and equal interval of time. Non-uniform object is not covering equal distance and equal interval of time. Either the distance or the time needs to vary. Any of these two things needs to be unequal. Then coming to the average speed, it is defined as the total distance upon total time taken. याद रखिए जब speed की definition हो तब you don't have to use the word total. Total comes only when you are finding the average. Whether it is any type of speed, uniform speed, non-uniform speed, average speed or instantaneous speed, the SI unit will remain same, that is meter per second. Coming over here, uniform velocity or non-uniform velocity. If it is uniform velocity, then speed as well as direction both should remain same. Always remember, velocity is nothing but it is speed with direction. So speed with direction, what it is called as velocity. Non-uniform velocity, its displacement as well, that means its direction as well as magnitude may change with respect to time. Average velocity, that is total displacement upon total time. Coming to the next particular part, which is the acceleration, and it is denoted by A. There was a very nice thing that you might have seen in Three Idiots, that is how does the induction motor starts, and then it was boom boom. So in the same way you are having over here acceleration. Acceleration is same, that boom boom only. That means what? That there is increase or decrease in the speed. In that case we are moving with the word that is acceleration. If we come to its definition, then it is defined as, acceleration is defined as the ratio of change in velocity per unit time. That means final velocity minus initial velocity upon time. Oops, it's not clear. Final velocity is denoted, acceleration is denoted by A, final velocity by V, initial by U and time by T. So here it is. Its SI unit is meter per second square. One of the very important parameter regarding the acceleration. If final velocity is greater than initial velocity, then acceleration will be positive. If final velocity is less than initial velocity, then acceleration will be negative, which is called as retardation. What it is termed as retardation. Okay, so this is about whole of the concept. After this we are having the derivation that I'll make you understand, but before that you need to write on all these points very quickly. Come on, start noting it and be very quick in noting it. Keep all the things with you because these are the only things that are going to help you out. Okay, be quick and I'll be giving you less amount of time to note it. Chalo, buck up, quick. Now the derivation. This derivation is the derivation of the three equations of motion using algebraic method. Okay, very easy one. Assume now whatever I am saying, you have to write it in your particular own language. Means you can use some of your own words. Assume that an object is going from point A to point B. The displacement by it is of d, because it is moving on a linear path, the distance and displacement will be equal. The linear path which it is going from A to B, it is the displacement is of d, time taken is t, at point A its initial velocity is u, and at point B its final velocity is v. That is what it is given. Object is going from point A to point B. At point A its initial velocity is u, its at point B its final velocity is v. Now we just have to try to find out all the three equations of motion just by using this. How can we do that? We have already done that, and this is a quick review of it. We know that acceleration is what? Change in velocity upon time. So what will be A equal to? V minus u by t. Therefore multiply t over here, at यहाँ multiply दीजिए. So you have at is equals to v minus u. Bring u over here, you will have at plus u is equals to v. This is the very first equation of motion. Coming to the next equation of motion. Total average, that is average speed is equals to total distance upon total time. This is the concept that we will be using for deriving the next two equations. We know that average speed is what? Average speed bolo, average velocity bolo. Here the distance and displacement will be same because the object is moving on a linear path and there are no changes in its direction. So your average speed as well as average velocity will be same. Okay, as in how I am saying. If you write over here average velocity, then also it will do. If the initial velocity and the final velocities are u and v respectively, then what will be the average velocity? It will be this u plus v upon 2 is equal to, what is the total displacement? Over here it's d or s. If I have written d over here, we need to write d over here, or as per textbook the notation is s, so we will go for s. So what is u plus v equal to? It's s by t. Bring t over here, u plus v upon 2 into t, what it will become equal to? S. Now what is v equal to? U plus at. From the equation 1 you can say that v is equals to u plus at. Instead of v over here, what will it become? U plus at upon 2 is into t is equal to s. So what is u at upon 2 into t is equal to what? S. Will get with 82 will remain and t will come in. So you have the second equation as ut plus at square upon 2 is equal to s. This is the second equation of motion. Okay. There is some amount of space over here, so we'll utilize it. Concept is same over here. That is average velocity is equals to total displacement of the object upon total time taken. Again we will start with the same concept, u plus v upon 2 is equal to s by t. Bring again t over here, u plus v by 2 is equal to into t is equal to s. Here we are going to replace t by v minus u upon a. So again u plus v by 2 multiplied by v minus u upon a is equal to s. A plus b, a minus b, what will become? A square minus b square. So v square minus u square upon 2a is equal to s. Bring 2a on the other side, you have v square minus u square is equals to 2a s, and that is the third equation of motion. And this is how you get three equations of motion, and very important derivation as far as your exams are concerned, because most of the time, whether it is CBSE board or Gujarat board, they try to just make you do derive this. In your textbook you are having by the algebraic method by in NCERT, it's not there. In NCERT it is graph based. Before we recall all the graph based things, note down this very quickly. Coming to the next particular point, that is the graph. When it comes to graphical representation, we have to be very careful because we have to check whether it is a distance versus time graph or velocity versus time graph. For kind information, always the dependent variable are plotted on the y-axis while the independent variable is plotted on the x-axis. So on the x-axis, you are always going to have time, while on the y-axis you may have distance, displacement or velocity. Let us have a first look at the distance versus time graph. This is the graph which we are going to see. If with respect to time, the distance versus time graph is a straight line, that means object is stationary. If the distance versus time graph is a straight line with some slope, then it is moving with uniform motion. And the slope of distance versus time graph gives speed. If it's an irregular pattern, then it is a non-uniform motion. Coming to the velocity versus time graph, if the velocity versus time graph is a line parallel to time axis, then most of the time students write it is stationary. It's not stationary. It's moving with uniform velocity. Next, a straight line with some accelerating slope. Slope will give acceleration. Then area under the curve will give displacement. Okay, and this is which type of motion? It's accelerated motion. Coming to the next part, this is retarded motion. Here's the slope will give you retardation, and the area under the curve will give you the displacement, while this is a non-uniform velocity. Okay. Once again, the graphs are very important because on the graph basis, most of the time they are trying to harass the students. The distance versus time graph, over here it is the line which is if the line is parallel to the time axis, then the object will be stationary. If the distance versus time graph is a straight line, then it will be a uniform motion. The slope will give us what? It will give us speed. If it is like this zigzag pattern, then it is a non-uniform motion. Coming to the next particular part, that is velocity versus time graph. If it is a line which is parallel to the time axis, then it is moving with uniform velocity. If it's a straight line with some slope, then the slope will give you acceleration. Over here will give you retardation, and area under the curve will always give you the displacement. While this is what it is, a non-uniform velocity. Quick down this, then we'll see the derivations. Quick. Now the derivation. The graph is very important over here. This is V, this is U, this is T. This much is U, this much is V, and let us give the name. Okay, so what is acceleration? This is the graph of it, and I hope that the graph is visible. Now let's move further. We know that over here, this much is suppose the time taken t. Here we'll write the notations. It's this: AB is equals to V, which is final velocity. EC is what? V minus U. Then CD and AB are equal, which is T. CB and AD are equal, which is U. Okay, so with this concepts, we are going to right now start with the three derivations. First one is acceleration is what? It's slope of the graph. That is what? What is the slope of the graph? It is change in y coordinate upon change in x coordinate, that is EC by CD. What is EC over here? You can see over here EC is V minus U. CD is what? T. Again, the basic concept will start. This is the very first equation of motion. Coming to the second equation. The second equation of motion. We know that displacement is area under the curve. So S is equals to, here the area under the curve is the area of ADEB. Okay, now this can be written in two format from here. That is equal to area of triangle DEC plus area of rectangle ABCD. What will that become now? What is area of triangle? Half base into height. So half into. What is the base over here? It's CD and height EC. Plus area of rectangle, length into breadth. So CD into CB. Half. What is EC over here? V minus U. What is CD? T. Plus what is C again? T. And what is CB? CB is U. From this equation, one equation, you can write V minus U as 80. Therefore, you have S is equals to half into 80 into T plus UT, which is equals to half 80 square plus UT. Okay, that is the second equation. Okay, for third, this much will remain same, that is displacement is area under the curve. From here, for after this, what is area of ABDE? That is area of trapezium ABDE, and area of trapezium ABDE is equal to half into sum of parallel sides. Which are the parallel sides over here? AD and EB. Into height. What is the height over here? CD. Which are the parallel sides over here? U and V. CD is T. Replace T by V minus U by A. You will have S is equal to, again, V square minus U square upon 2A. How? We replace T by V minus U by A. So you have 2AS is equal to V square minus U square. This is how you can derive all the three equations of motion even using graph. I have noted down over here some of the I have noted down over here by using any of the BCD, not the same one which I had used for the very first time, the derivation. You can write over here your name also, okay? I can write HARSH. So that is what again I cannot repeat, same letters cannot be repeated. So that is what is the beauty of this. So this is the derivation using graphical method. Note it down quickly. Then we shall move further. The last concept. Coming to the next particular part, that is the uniform circular motion. Whenever the object is moving on a circular path, okay, the object is moving on the circular path, then with some radius r, say, the tangent will give the direction of the motion of the object. Okay, so whenever the object is moving on a circular path where its speed is remaining constant but direction is constantly changing, then it is said to be moving on, it is said to be moving with uniform circular motion. Then we had a discussion regarding the angular displacement and the angular velocity. Let us have a look at it, what it is. A very small concept. Suppose the object is covered interval of theta, okay, and this is the length of the arc L. So theta. So here we are having the angular displacement as theta, and theta is equals to what? Theta is equals to L by R. That is the length of the arc upon the radius of the circle. Then coming to the next, omega, that is angular velocity, that is angular displacement upon time. So omega is equals to theta by t, which is L by R into t. So this is what is the angular displacement and the angular velocity. Always remember, these are the two concepts about which we are going to study in your higher standards in detail. So that is all about the quick recap of chapter number 1. Next time we'll meet with a new chapter. Till that time, constantly revise the content that has been taught to you. And this particular last part of the uniform circular motion is left out for you to note down. So note it down quick, last part. So that's all for today. Thank you so much, my dear students, for listening to me. Next time we'll meet with a new chapter. Then we'll also see some of the very important questions with respect to this particular chapter, and a quick recap to the numericals will also be done. So till that time, stay safe. Bye-bye and have a very good day. Bye.